Olá, meus amigos do Brasil. Hello, my friends here from the United States. This is going to be our last talk from this year, and that's why I'm just trying to put this nice, that I love, this cheering, of the end of the year. But our talk today is going to start to go into a very interesting area, which unfortunately we don't have much of treatment at this point, and there's a couple of diseases that we're going to cover, one today, one next time. They are part of what we call aging diseases, and they now are more, the trend is increasing a lot. And of course, this is probably because it's an aging disease. And luckily for us or not, humans are now more likely to live longer. We see people with 70, 80 years old, perfectly, healthy and looking young and all that. So maybe that's why we are more likely to develop those aging diseases, and we see more of those than we used to see back in time. But anyway, today we're going to discuss, going to present to you some of the benefits that coffee can promote in this kind of diseases. And those diseases are classified as neurodegenerative diseases, meaning diseases that are due to a degeneration of the neurons. And we all know that the brain is one of those tissues that doesn't rebuild itself again, like the bones, like the skin. And so once those neurons die, there's no way to recuperate, so it's gone. So today we're going to talk first about Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's disease is a disease, aging disease, and is more likely to be developed in men instead of women. Parkinson's is, the symptoms are basically motor symptoms. They are actually known as Parkinsonism, and means bradykinesia. Okay, so I'm going to start with funky words. Brady comes from slow, and kinesia from movement. So slow movements, and actually they are some movements are actually involuntary. So that tremor in the hand on the resting, the person is resting, and it has that tremor. That's typical of of Parkinson's, sorry. And also muscle rigidity. What else? I took a note to not forget some of them. And also the difficulty on keep standing still. So there is a symptom of a not very steady standing. So most of the time, those people are using the help of canes and everything. Okay, so Parkinson's disease normally shows up starting at 65 years old or more. Like I said, it's more likely to be developed in men than in women. And Parkinson's, basically, we don't know what actually caused that, but we do know what are the transformations that the brain suffers. And there is a particular area in the brain that is called basal ganglia. And that basal ganglia is one of those parts of the brain that is exactly responsible for some important functions like our motor capability, and that's why, who has Parkinson has motor problems. But it's also related with cognitive function, also related with, what else? There are many important factors that are developed once a person presents with Parkinson's. And of course, some of them are also behavioral. Some people actually change personality. So there is some affectional symptoms involved also. And it's irreversible, and we have no cure. All the treatments we have nowadays, they are looking to ameliorate the symptoms and to make the person feel more comfortable, but there's no way to delay the progress of the disease, unfortunately. I see that a lot of people coming up. Hi, how are you? I see Katya, my friend. You are watching me. Okay, so coffee and Parkinson's, and coffee and neurodegenerative diseases. Well, coffee, as we've been talking many times, we can definitely divide those two major components in coffee, which is caffeine and chlorogenic acids. I've been giving you a lot of properties for the chlorogenic acids in different diseases. Like last week we spoke about diabetes and all those amount of evidences and lots of research done showing many of the mechanisms that coffee works through preventing diabetes type 2 by reducing obesity and things like that. Well, today, actually, caffeine is going to be the big component in coffee that at least we know now for sure that has a very important effect in prolonging the possibility or not having at all Parkinson's disease. Actually, caffeine, which is the component we are talking about, is seen, you can look at any place, as well as, unfortunately, smoking also looks to see, also to promote these preventative effects for Parkinson's. But let's talk about caffeine. Okay, we know a lot about caffeine, but what is important in caffeine in terms of Parkinson's disease? Well, caffeine, one of the major mechanisms of action of caffeine is that caffeine binds to those receptors of a substance that is very important, that has many, many functions in our body, that is called adenosine. And there are lots of adenosine receptors exactly in the basal ganglia where we just mentioned there is this death of neurons. And by the way, this transmission that is reduced, that is diminished in the Parkinson is what we call dopaminergic transmission. So there are dopamine neurons that are dying, that are degenerating. And when that happens, those symptoms, motor symptoms, start to show. And caffeine binds to those receptors in the brain, exactly in this area of the basal ganglia, and antagonizes the action of this receptor. And actually what happens is that when this antagonism to those receptors is shown to promote an increase in the dopaminergic transmission. So there is actually what we see, and there are many trials that have been done already, showing that the person who drinks coffee regularly, compared with the one that doesn't, will have much less risk to get into Parkinson's. And this is what we know now is because through caffeine, the caffeine binds to those receptors, antagonizing those receptors, and when caffeine antagonizes those receptors, it ameliorates all the symptomatology of the tremor, of the dyskinesia. Okay, I came with another weird word, dyskinesia. Okay, this means unbalanced, dysfunctional. So dyskinesia means movements that At some points they are normal, at some points they are not normal. So the person who has Parkinson, one of the major limitations on the current treatment of Parkinson, which is the replacement of dopamine, is exactly the problem of this dyskinesia that promotes this on and off, like they say, symptoms. So it's not like the person is taking the medicine and is all the time with no tremor, no problem with the movement. It's not like that. Sometimes does have, sometimes doesn't have. So it doesn't promote a continuity in the treatment. And that gets worse as the time goes by because two things. One, the neurons continue to degenerate. Because remember, this doesn't cure nothing, just delays a little bit the problem. And second of all, when you antagonize something in your body tends to respond to that as trying to not listening. And that trying to not listen in terms of biology means reducing the number of possibilities of that drug to promote its effect. And when that happens in the treatment of Parkinson, the person is taking the medicine, but that medicine is no longer promoting the same effects that I was promoting before. So it's what we call the person gets to be tolerant to the medication. And with this tolerance comes this dyskinesia. So guess what? There are drugs in clinical trials at this point, and actually one of them at least already finished the phase 3, which allows the drug to request to be marketed in the country, and actually is being marketed at this point in Japan. I'm not sure if it's already in the United States. Maybe it's still in the steps to get there. But this drug, what I want to tell is that the mechanism of action of this drug, guess what? Is exactly the same of caffeine. Meaning that is to antagonize those adenosine receptors in the basal ganglia. So that's why studying coffee, people sometimes ask me, why you study coffee? I mean, it's like you're studying milk, you're studying, eat bread every morning. And I say no, because, even though coffee not going to cure anything, it's not, but can first make you be healthier, can promote things like that to make you be less like to develop a disease, and also can help researchers and scientists like myself to find new venues to treat those diseases that coffee prevents too. And this caffeine example is a big one example that I can give you, like is a natural product that we drink every day, that through the drinking of this beverage, they will manage to develop a drug that promotes the same effect. So that's what I prepared for today, for us to talk. And I want to finish this with, wishing you all a wonderful, wonderful holiday with your family. If you're away from your family, try to gather with your friends. Give a big hug in all of them. Let them know how you love them and how you miss them if you're away from them. And anyway, this is the best time to say, to wish good things to the ones we love and to plan the year ahead to be the best than this one was. So I want to finish this with my Noel hat and send you a big kiss and see you next year.